Hey, my name's ShawNshawN. I sell art on ShawNshawN.co and specials on eBay. Today we're going to review Unhinged. So this is a movie by Derek Bort. I think maybe it's his first film. I haven't heard of him before as a director. Time is an hour and a half, so just right at the sweet spot that I like. I don't know if it's the right time per se, but it just seems like just enough movie time. It stars Russell Crowe as the man, kind of this crazy road raging driver. Karen Pistorius plays Rachel, the mother of this mother who's getting a recent divorce. Jimmy Simpson plays Andy, her lawyer. So he's kind of helping her out, giving her personal advice. It's a friend of the family as well. Gabriel Bateman plays Kyle, her son. Austin P. McKenzie plays Fred, the uncle. And there's a couple more characters as well that play minor roles. So this young mother is, getting divorced from the father. She gets stuck in traffic on the way in the streets of LA. So if you don't know, if you've ever been to LA, it has one of the worst traffic in the world. Not as bad as China, but it's definitely getting up there. Probably for the US, it's probably one of the worst. And she's on her way. She's trying to get to a client. She's trying to drop off her son. She's late to the school, so her son's going to get suspended. And on the way, she's talking to her client, and her client's like, "You going to be here right at 9?" She's like, yeah, of course I'll be there. He's like, well, actually, I'm going to be 15, 20 minutes late, right? She's trying to be honest. She's like, that's it. I'm done. Fired. Boom. So she's having a really bad day. She's really at her wit's end. She's like, oh man, I just lost my best client, getting divorced. The dad's trying to argue about getting the house or not getting the house, all this kind of rubbish in the background. So a lot of, junk in the brain. And she comes to a stoplight and there's this truck is stuck, and then she's like waiting. It turns green. He doesn't take off. She's like, what the hell? She hits her, and then he doesn't move, and then she goes around him. She's like, what the hell, dude? And then goes around him, right? And this just triggers the guy. He's like, what the And there's a little bit of a backstory with him that, the night before, he had a nasty divorce as well. He lost the house and probably his job, I don't know, but he definitely lost the house. The wife moved in with a new lover, and so he just comes in and kills them all, right? Total maniac. He totally loses it, right? So the next day, he's just in traffic going to work or whatever, and runs into her, so he just loses, and he's like, that's it, I'm getting her, So it's kind of like this, really simple story. So I thought, there's not going to be much here. It's just going to be a chase story. How are they going to really build this up, right? So, it's kind of based off, there was a movie, I think in the 70s called Truck. I want to say it was one of Spielberg's. I want to say Steven Spielberg's first movie. And there's this truck harassing this driver the whole time. And then the driver finally surpasses the truck or something, right? The truck dies. I don't remember. But in that film, there's no cell phones, right? It's set in the 70s, so someone can harass you for hours on the road, right? But this is with the cell phone age. How do you get around that? You got people taking pictures if you do something bad, so that's another problem. So you can quickly be traced down by the police. So there's a lot of different elements, and so they really address this in the film. One of the ways they do that is, the idea that you can remap and map where you are. And unbeknownst to the mother, her phone is stolen by this guy, and she had left it unlocked because it was such a hassle because she had an accident before in a car wreck, and she didn't want to have that problem where she can't dial someone, so she took off the code completely, which I don't think you can even do anymore, but she just took it off completely. And so this guy has access to all her contacts. He's like, who do you want me to kill? So she's totally in this quandary, like, no. So she's like, kill my client, right? She hates her. She just got fired by her. And he's like, all right, we'll go and get her. And so he hangs up, boom. He's placed a cell phone in her car, which is a flip phone of his. He's given her a burner phone, right? So she immediately calls 911, tries to set up. It's like, hey, they're going to go kill this person. All these XYZ is going to happen, right? But the nice thing is they just say, I need 911. I got multiple emergencies, right? Boom. And they cut the scene there because they've already explained it visually, so you don't need to explain it. So that was really well shot and edited, I would say. So he has this cunning use of, switching the phone, but he's obviously being filmed as he's sometimes killing people. So eventually, the cops are kind of on hot pursuit, but he gets the initiative. He switches cars when he goes and kills another one of her friends. And so now he has a different car, so he switched up the car. So that gives him a little bit more leeway as far as not getting caught right away. And also he kills some cops along the way as they're in a chase, and they're like, hey, cop, there's a crazy guy behind me. And then boom, they kill the cop. So it really has some really good chase sequences, I think, that makes the film. I didn't think there would be much, but it was very, very enjoyable to watch. And also this quite clever play between what you could do with an iPhone and an iPad. They track they end up, they got the iPhone, like, oh man, we got the iPad, we can track this guy, find the phone. He's like, where is he? Oh no, he's right next to it. So he's doing the same trick. He's following her by the iPhone and the iPad, right? The technology is being used against them, for and against. But then the battery dies on the iPad, so then they have a chance to lose him. So they come with this clever scenario, losing him by the grandmother's old house. Based on this Fortnite strategy that Q was talking earlier in the movie. So it has a lot of good full circle explanation of Fortnite, the grandma's crazy house and her neighborhood, the grandma being sent away, the terrible thing about breaking up the family for that versus taking care of the grandmother, the father splitting from the family, what's the scenario there. The killer also had a divorce. He had 2 divorces come together. So a lot of nice shadowing and layering there. That's, a little bit subtle. Not much symbolism, but it does have that nice finality of you can get a divorce and go crazy, or you can get a divorce and kind of still manage your life. So you have kind of 2 different choices in life, as well as with the mother. Do you put her away in an old folks home? Do you go visit her, keep her at your house? That leads to them selling the grandma's house, which is very common. And the relationship with the lawyer, and the driver thinks that the lawyer, maybe he's having an affair with her, or he really hates the lawyer because the lawyer screwed him over in his divorce. So the lawyer's going to be killed, right? So it has a lot of build up as far as like who's getting killed, who's not getting killed. You don't know. He has access to all our context. So I like that sense of the movie. One thing I thought is when the man, he obviously gets a divorce and then he goes and kills his family, but maybe they could have had a scene in there a little bit of maybe where he gets downsized and like he was a VP at a company. Now he's just going to be a general manager, or something where he feels like, boom, let down. And then he gets the divorce, so further let down. And then it turns out his wife's cheating on him or something like that. And she's found a new family or whatever it is. They show that briefly, but they don't show maybe the boss, or so they could have had a little more build up there. But I think, for film's sake, it's basically a good definition of a villain, and he definitely has his motives why he's totally after her later, as a road rage. Personally, I've been in LA and I've witnessed a road rage. We pulled off the highway and we were just in LA for like 2 hours, and we're like in the traffic, like, oh my God, this is so crazy. We get off and we saw this lady pull up behind this guy, and she got out of her car and she's just yelling at top of, what the fuck are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you're a girl taking on this guy. Are you crazy? So I've seen people like just totally road rage. I've been in San Francisco traffic, and I've been sometimes racing people because you get really pissed and then you start chasing them. And I've seen people do that several times. I don't do that nowadays, but I've definitely seen people that just been in traffic too long and they just snap, right? So there's just a certain, if you commute over half an hour, 45 an hour, and in LA it's very typical you're gonna have an hour and a half every day. Both ways, you're gonna be like on a very thin edge of like wanting to kill someone, right? So this really captures the driving scene of LA, but I think most people can identify it if they live in any big city. So obviously that's probably 90% of the population. So everyone's gonna identify this. They've lived in a big city before. But yeah, the one scene I think I would change is in the final showdown, they're at their grandmother's house and the killer is pretending to be the police. And the little kid's hidden upstairs in some secret attic hideaway. And I think what they should have done is probably had the kid up there and just hear the voice, and you really don't know. And he's thinking, like, check his watch. He's like, oh, is that the cops? Is it not the cops? And then, get ready to go out. And then he kind of trips up and reveals himself as not being the police. What actually happens is they show him talking, so there's no suspense that, it's the killer, but is the kid gonna realize it, right? So it's kind of like you're kind of the know-it-all view. But I think if they would have been up in the attic with the kid and then you hear this ruckus below and you hear steps going through, and they could use a sound effect because in the theater they have surround sound, so you can really move the sound around. If you see like Quiet Place has a really great sound effect, so I think they could have done a little bit more with the story there. It was fine the way they shot it. They shot it visually, so that's fine, but you could have used auditory only in that case and just be focused on the kid and his paranoia and his fear. Probably a lot of close-up shots, with the eyes. That would have been pretty interesting, but, I think it was fine the way they shot it. Overall, I think it was a pretty fun film. I didn't expect much, but it was definitely fun. I'd recommend it as kind of a fun first movie after COVID finally. If you guys want to subscribe, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next movie review. Thanks for watching, guys.